Hari Om. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Welcome to session 143 of Bhagavad Gita verse by verse. Our study of chapter 18 called Moksha Sannyasa Yoga will continue in today's class with the verses 61 to 65. Dr. Anupama Shetty is going to chant these verses later at the end of class. Now, before Dr. Hegdeser gives the introduction of today's class, I invite Srimati Vani Bhaskar to give us a brief recap of verses we studied in our last episode. Over to you, Vani Madam.
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We saw from the verse 50 to 55, Shri Krishna covered the topic of Nididhyasana Pradhana Gnana Yoga. From verse 56 onwards, Krishna comes back to the topic of Karma Yoga. If the seeker is not ready for Gnana Yoga, Shri Krishna advises one to concentrate on Karma Yoga. Shri Krishna has already spoken about Karma Yoga many times. Here, he talks about Karma Yoga, emphasizing on the attitude of bhakti. Without devotion to God, Karma Yoga does not exist. What is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is dedicating all my actions to God, that is Ishvararpana Bhavana, and accepting all the results or consequences, favorable or unfavorable, with Prasada Bhavana. Success in Karma Yoga not only depends on our effort, that is Purushartha, but also depends on the grace of God, that is Ishvara Anugraha. So Purushartha and Ishvara Anugraha are like two wings of a bird. For a spiritual growth, both are equally important. Here, Krishna emphasizes on Ishvara Anugraha in all these verses. Verse 56. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhya pashrayaha mat prasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Here, Krishna says, Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhya pashrayaha. So perform all actions you want to do, whether it is worldly, that is alaukika actions, or religious actions, that is vaidika, offer all of them as a naivedya. That is, dedicate all actions to Bhagavan. This is Ishvararpana Bhavana. Mat prasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavya. When you offer all your actions to me, then by my grace, you can receive all the results or the consequences as Ishvara Prasada. So, apnoti here means you'll attain your goal. What type of goal? Shashvatam padam avyayam. Padam is moksha, the goal of liberation. So, which is Shashvatam, that is eternal, and avyayam, that is undecaying. But here one must remember a karma yogi is not a gnani. He is trying to purify his mind. So, he has a Ishta Devata. One thing must be clear, just by Karma Yoga, one cannot attain moksha. But must remember, it is a stepping stone. So Krishna explains, surrender, take shelter in me, have a strong conviction that God alone is the ultimate source of strength and security. Dedicate all actions to me and accept the results with prasada buddhi. So when you accept the result as prasada buddhi, you gain the purity of mind, which will lead to Vedantic Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, which will finally lead to moksha. Coming to the next verse, 57. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yoga mupashritya matchitta satatham bhava. So here Krishna says, keeping me as the supreme goal and mentally dedicating all your actions to me, remain with your mind fixed on me all the time. So Buddhi Yoga here again means Karma Yoga. So here Krishna says, dedicate every action as an offering. Then there is no like or dislike towards any karma. So as you are doing your karma, you are the karta, so where God is the center. And the result is taken as prasada coming from Lord. So we can never judge any experience based on raga dvesha. So as a bhokta also, God is remembered and it is God center. So either way, a karma yogi has a Ishvara-centric lifestyle. Coming to the next verse, 58. Mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi ata chetva mahankarat na shroshasi na vinakshasi. See, here Krishna says, with your mind fixed on me, you shall cross over all the obstacles and by my grace. But if you do not listen to me due to your ego, you will perish. So here, a karma yogi who has Ishvara-centric life learns from every experience. He has samatvam towards pain and pleasure in life. He has that inner growth. But even in spiritual growth, there are obstacles like Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, and Adhyatmika. So Krishna assures, if you are a karma yogi, so if you are dedicating all your actions to me and taking the results as prasada, you can overcome all obstacles by my grace. So Krishna warns here, if you refuse to follow karma yoga, it will lead you to your spiritual downfall. Because of your ahankara, if you do not listen to me, you will perish. Here, perish does not mean the physical death, but spiritual downfall or destruction. So you will lose the benefit of getting moksha, which is possible only in human birth. Next verse, 59. Yada hankara mashritya na yotseti manuyase mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshati. So sticking to egoism, if you think I won't fight, such a resolve of yours will be in vain, as your nature will compel you to act. So here Lord Krishna's advice to Arjuna is, you are a Rajasic person. You are a born Kshatriya. You are an embodiment of Rajoguna. And if you refuse to go by Guna and give up war and decide to go to the forest or take up sannyasa, you will miserably fail. So here Krishna's advice is, choose your karma according to your guna, which is very, very important. The next verse. Swabhava jena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana kartum nechasi enmohat karishyasya vashopi tat. Here Krishna says, Arjuna, everybody has a swabhava. In some, Sattva-guna is pradhana, in some people Rajoguna is pradhana, and some people Tamoguna pradhana. Choose your lifestyle according to your swabhava. Svena karmana nibaddha. Everyone is bound by his own type of karma, which is determined by swabhava. This swabhava is very intrinsic to the nature. Even after gnanam, it does not go away. Therefore, we see many jnanis who live secluded life in Himalayas, and some jnanis who live in this world with people doing great work. So do not avoid lifestyle based on swabhava. And if you try to escape from that, it is a delusion and will not succeed in that. So Krishna's advice to Arjuna is, accept your swabhava and take a lifestyle in harmony with that. Take up war as you are a Kshatriya and your swabhava is Rajoguna Pradhana. And your duty is to protect dharma and your people. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Vani, for giving us a nice revision of the verses we studied in the last class. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. It was nearly 2 years ago that we started this exercise on the study of the Bhagavad Gita verse by verse. And it is a great joy that we've had such anugraha, blessings of our Guru and blessings of the Lord, that we are able to see the completion of this most wonderful study of the Bhagavad Gita verse by verse, along with the study of Mundakopanishad. In the chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna kindles our interest on the topic by saying, I'm going to share with you a secret. It is not an ordinary secret. It is a royal secret. In today's class, you will see the word guhyam, guhyataram, guhyatamam. All are gradations of secrets. Why is Shri Krishna using the word secret again and again? Now, there is a certain significance with which we use the word secret, because Shri Krishna is trying to tell us about a knowledge which is not ordinarily available for a lot of people. And even if it is available, it is not understood. Certainly, we are those fortunate people who have access to this knowledge and also to be able to understand. Also, the reason for calling this a secret is it is something very sacred. It is the knowledge of the ultimate truth. It is about our true nature, our real self, knowing which we get a path to self-realization and liberation from that cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And that is why, as a matter of importance and to give great value to what we are studying, Sri Krishna refers to this teaching as a secret. Also, this knowledge, because it is not easily accessible to everyone, for only one reason, because many people do not have the right amount of preparation or the right guidance, or also devotion. You will see again and again, it is devotion that gives you yogyata. It is devotion that brings you a guru. And that is also a reminder that you will hear that in today's class, although this verse will come a little later, Sri Krishna will remind us, I have shared this great secret with you, but I want you to share it with others, particularly by those who are in the right frame of mind to be able to receive it. And remember, don't give it to anybody and everybody, because it is so sacred. I want you to have a sense of value with what you give it. Now, this sense of sacredness, secret, is not only in the Bhagavad Gita. Many other traditions also have certain very special meetings for a selected few with the Guru, and they call it the esoteric or secret meetings. This is also particularly true among the Sufis. So when the master is going to share something very profound, they call it an esoteric meeting or a sacred meeting, and so that you bring a certain value for all these meetings. Here you will see Swami Chinmayananda in one of the street corners in Pune. When he came from his guru in Uttarakashi, Swami Tapovan Maharaj, he found that this treasure that he got was so valuable. He wanted to share it with anybody and everyone. He took every opportunity. This is a street corner where he had an opportunity to meet a group of people, and he was doing an informal satsang. And later on, when his popularity grew, it was meetings of such mammoth sizes. Very rarely you see a Gita or an Upanishad talk given to such a large crowd of people. And when he started giving such discourses, the traditional Hindu leaders were very warning him, but what you are doing is not right, because you are sharing it with people who may not be prepared for it. Traditionally, this was given in selected ashrams to prepared students, mainly renunciates, and almost always in Sanskrit. Now, he had broken the tradition of giving it in the local language of the people. And then Sri Swami Chinmayananda looks back at them and says, don't worry, your teaching will still remain a secret. What he was trying to say is, I may speak it on a pulpit to a large number of people, but how many people are going to understand? Now, all those of us who are listening to this teaching, let us make this commitment. Let us do whatever we can, that each of these verses of the Gita give us the full impact of the meaning. Now, this is how Sri Krishna begins in the opening of the 9th chapter. Idam tute guhyatamam. I'm going to share with you a great secret. And if you get that secret, moksha se ashubhat, all that is ashubha, you will be free from all of that. And then he continues, this is not an ordinary secret. It is a royal knowledge and it is a royal secret. That is how the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita begins. Now, this is the last verse of the 15th chapter. And time and again, if you have seen the whole Bhagavad Gita, you will see the teaching reaches a climax in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 16th and the 17th are reinforcement of values, and the 18th chapter is a beautiful summary. So the concluding verses of the 18th chapter is this: Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam mayanaga. O Anaga, O Arjuna, this greatest secret I have shared it with you. Etad buddhva buddhiman syat krita kritasya bharata. Once you have internalized this knowledge, you will attain to krita kritasya. You will be completely fulfilled. You will attain to purnatvam. Now, in the verses that we are going to study today, you will see this word guhyat guhyataram. And the secret comes again and again, at least 3 times in today's class. Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyat guhyataram. I have told you the great secret, but I want you to reflect on it. It will be explained today. Another verse that will be coming today, where Sri Krishna prepares us for an ultimate summary. Now, the Bhagavad Gita is the 18th chapter is a beautiful summary. And in the 18th chapter, towards the end, you will have Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga being summarized again and again. But from verses 63 to 66, you have the ultimate summary. And Sarva Guhyatamam. Buhya, once again, I'm going to give that great secret to you. Be very attentive, listen. And finally, after having given all that secret, Shri Krishna tells at the end of his teaching, he says, I have given you that great secret, but I want you to share it with deserving people. He encourages all of us to be able to share this teaching with others. With this background, let us come into the introduction. Let us come to the study of the verses of today's class, and the opening speaker will be Dr. Meenal. Dr. Meenal, please.
Thank you, sir. Namaste. The actions we engage in are called karmas, and for attaining purity of mind called as chitta shuddhi, it is not sufficient to do karmas alone. One must convert our karmas into a yoga called as karma yoga. And how do we convert karma into karma yoga? Karma can be converted into karma yoga by turning karma into an offering to God, cheerfully, sincerely, and wholeheartedly. The compensation and the material benefits received from this karma yoga should then be accepted only as byproducts with an Ishwar Prasad Bhavna. So Ishwar Arpan Bhavna and Ishwar Prasad Bhavna will convert karma into karma yoga. And to make such an offering, Lord Krishna says you need not go in search of any shrine or temple, because the true residence of God is within your own heart, where the Lord exists as Sakshi Chaitanyam. As the Taittiriya Upanishad states in this verse, Brahma Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Brahman is the truth, Brahman is knowledge, and Brahman is the infinite. And this very Brahman resides in all living hearts as the Sakshi Chaitanya. With this background, let us read the 61st verse of chapter 18. The next slide, please, sir. Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshet Arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. In this verse, Krishna says, Hey Arjuna, please note this clearly. Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshet tishtati. The Lord resides in the heart or the hridayam of all the beings. To practice karma yoga and to offer or dedicate our actions to the Lord, we do not require idols, pictures, shrines, or temples. This is beautifully expressed in this verse from the Shiva Manasa Puja Stotram. The next slide, please, sir. Atma tvam girija matihi sahacharaha pranaha shariram gruham. O Lord, you are myself, Parvati is my intelligence, the Panchapranas are your attendants, and my body is your house. Therefore, our very body is the temple, and the residing Jivatma is none other than the Paramatma. Hence, Riddeshe or Hridaya Deshe. Now, why is Krishna saying Hridayam and not Mastishk or any other part of the body? Because according to the scriptures, the location of the mind is Hridaya or heart and not the brain. The Lord resides in the heart of everyone. So, Sarva Bhutanam Riddeshe. Whether one is a saint or a sinner, a criminal or a scholar, honest or dishonest, it does not matter. The Lord is ever present in everyone's heart. So Krishna says, Hey Arjuna, in your heart also God is present as Sakshi Chaitanya in form of the witness consciousness. and residing in the heart of all beings. What does the Lord do? Krishna says, Sarva Bhutani Brahmayan. Remaining in the heart, the Lord enlivens all the living beings by lending consciousness, as the body-mind-sense complex is otherwise inert and has no life of its own. This inert body-mind-sense complex becomes alive and sentient only because of the borrowed consciousness lent to it by Atma, a concept beautifully described in this Kenopanishad verse, which states, Shrotrasya shrotram manoso mano yad vachoha vacham sa upranasya pranaha. Chakshushar Chakshu. So it is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the speech of speech, life breath of life, and the eye of the eye. The it here is nothing but the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, or the consciousness principle. So Brahmayan in this verse means activating, energizing, or enlivening all the bhutanis, which are essentially nothing but the inert stula, sukshma, sharirani. And how does the Lord activate? By his Maya. An example is given in this verse, Yantra Arudhani Mayaya, and we will supply the word Eva here. So Yantra Arudhani Mayaya Eva, like the wind-up toys or the dolls which are activated by a key coil machinery mechanism inside, or just like the fan which does not move by itself but needs electricity to rotate. Our inert bodies are made mobile and alive by Lord in form of this consciousness principle within. It is to be noted that Bhagwan is only lending consciousness and life to us, but the type of actions that we choose to do, good or bad, ethical or unethical, are not determined by Bhagwan. They are determined by our free will alone. Swami Paramarthananda ji gives an example of petrol in the car. The petrol energizes the car and it gives it the power to run, but it does not determine the destination of the car, which is determined by the driver alone and not by the petrol. Similarly, Bhagwan is like the petrol which enlivens but does not decide the destination. That is, whether I should do good deeds or bad, this only I can decide. Therefore, Bhagwan is a Samanya Karanam and our free will is called Vishesha Karanam. So this verse talks about Bhagwan as the Samanya Karanam who enlivens all the beings and makes them sentient. Thank you very much. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meenal, for giving us a very clear explanation of this very important verse, which really talks about what kind of attitude we need to have in every situation, particularly situations that cannot be changed. Let us quickly look into this verse. Ishvara, the Lord, Sarva Bhutanam, exists where? Hrit Deshe, in the space of the heart, Tishtati, he dwells there. Hrit refers to the mind or Atma or consciousness. So the Lord dwells in all of us, in all beings. And what does he do? Brahmayam, he causes us to move. He enlivens us. How? Through the power of Maya. Just like, this example has to be understood, Yantra Rudani Arudani, just like a machine. Now, this can be interpreted as we are helplessly driven by the Lord, but as Dr. Meenal has explained, the Lord is the Samanya Karanam. He is the enlivening principle, just like the energy force or the driving force. But how we drive that is what is important. Swamiji talks about our lives as MBBS. If you look at our lives, we tend to do the same thing day in and day out, ending up in what a life that can be meaningless, boring, burdensome struggle. Now, is there a way out? And the way out is to realize we have a certain free will. Although many of our thought patterns, our speech patterns, our life patterns, our work patterns are so mechanical, and again, the glory of a human being is that we have a free will, we have Jnana Shakti, we have the power of knowing, we have Kriya Shakti, that means the power to do or not to do, and Ichcha Shakti. We also have a certain free will. And therefore, the Lord is the empowering principle, and he is also the Karma Paladata. And therefore, let us take breaks in our lives to break the monotony of that mechanicalness. to move away from what is called robo-pathology, and to take control of our life and say, we are conscious beings with a free will. And when we have a free will, thank you very much, Dr. Meena, also for bringing us to this beautiful verse from Shiva Manasa Puja, where let us see this last part. Yad yad karma karomi shambho tavaradhana. Whatever I do through my free will, O Shambho, that auspicious one, let it be as an offering to you. Atma Tvam, you are my Atma. You dwell in my heart as that driving principle. That intelligence, that mind is none other than Girija Parvati, Girija Mati. I have Prana Shakti, and that is Sahachara Prana. Let them be available for whatever service that you need to do. Let my whole body be available in your service. Shariram Griham. Let me treat my body as a temple where the Lord dwells. I get so many things to enjoy in my life. Whatever I enjoy, good food, good experiences, let me make that as an offering, my yajna to you. Even when I sleep, let my sleep be a samadhi sthiti of yours. Wherever I walk, let this be a parikrama around you. And whatever I speak can be a stotram, a praise for you. If the Lord dwells, Rabindranath Tagore in one of his beautiful poems has said, and this shall be like the key verse, and it shall be my endeavor to reveal thee through my actions, knowing it is thy power that gives me strength to act life of my life. Life of my life is like the year of my year. That driving force in me is the Atma. And let me realize it is that Shiva Tattva which helps me to do whatever I do. We have another beautiful verse that will be explained to us by Shiv Kumar. Shiv, please.
Hari Om, Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. The 62nd verse. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Bhagavan Krishna started the summary of Karma Yoga from the 56th verse, and he culminates on this topic with this verse. Result of any action certainly depends on self-effort, but not without the divine grace. Divine grace is extremely important for us to realize our ultimate goal. As Vaniji in recap mentioned, the grace and self-effort are like two wings of a bird. With his grace added to my self-effort and surrendering to the divine, can I be released from the bondage of apara prakriti. Hence, to receive such a grace, one must qualify by unconditionally surrendering to God. Now, how do I do this? I can surrender as the Lord is there in my heart, enlivening my body and mind. I offer all the karmas to the Lord, to that Lord, and also take support of the Lord in my spiritual progress. That Lord alone has to give me chitta shuddhi through my karma. Bhagwan being the karma paladata, every karma produces two types of punyam. One is spiritual punyam. Second is material punyam. Spiritual punyam means opportunity to study Gita, opportunity to study our scriptures by bestowing us with chitta shuddhi. Material punyam, we all know, is that which gives us all the material benefits like house, family, etc. Therefore, Krishna in this verse, Tameva Sharanam Gaccha, may you take refuge by offering all the karmas with Sarva Bhavena, wholeheartedly, sincerely, with Shraddha and Bhakti to that Lord who is residing in our Antakarana, in our heart. Swamiji says, with wholeheartedly, Sharanagati, we should offer our karma to the Lord, irrespective of whether that karma gives us material benefits or not. As material success and failures are dependent on many factors, and we do not know how powerful the obstacle is. But without a doubt, by offering the karma to the Lord, he says spiritual growth is definite. In the second chapter, verse 40, Bhagavan said, Sarva Bhavena. Here, bhava means bhakti or reverential attitude. That is, wholeheartedly surrendering to the Lord. And tat prasadat, by Ishvara Anugraha. Once I surrender to the Lord wholeheartedly, handing over the responsibility to the Lord, he will take me step by step, giving me vivekam, in good measure, replenishes vairagyam, and thus bestowing samadhi shatka sampatti. Apart from all the four qualifications, he will at the appropriate time give me a guru, opportunity for knowledge, and mumukshutvam, an intense desire for moksha. Sashvatam sthanam prapyasi, that eternal abode I shall attain. The permanent or the infinite goal of moksha I will attain. But how will I know that I have attained moksha? Krishna says the indication of moksha is param shantihi, the abiding relaxation, peace, poise, equanimity, or simply as Swami Paramarthanandaji puts it, PHS, permanent peace, security, and happiness. Therefore, Krishna says, Param Shantim Prapsyasi. With this, Krishna concludes the Karma Yoga topic, recapping which he started from verse 56. Now, summarizing this verse, here Bhagwan guides Arjuna to seek the Lord as the sole refuge with his whole being for relief from the distressing samsara. Then and only then, by his grace, you shall obtain supreme peace and attain the Lord's supreme eternal abode. Again, this shall be possible by going through all the necessary steps: Chitta Shuddhi, Guru Prapti, Shravana Prapti, and finally Gnana Prapti, leading to Moksha Prapti. In Srila Sanatana Goswami, in Hari Bhakti Vilas, in the 11.67 verse, lists 6 aspects of surrendering to God, as you see in the slide. They are: 1, the desire only in accordance with the desire of God. 2, reject what is not in favor of devotion. 3, the faith that God will surely protect me. 4, to maintain an attitude of gratitude towards God. 5, to see everything we possess as belonging to God. 6, to give up the pride of having surrendered. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Shiv, for a very nice explanation of another important verse. Tvameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. O Arjuna, Shri Krishna is talking to all of us. Gaccha means go. Like Buddham sharanam gacchami, go and seek refuge. Where? Tameva, to that higher principle, or recognize that inner divinity. How? Sarva bhavena, wholeheartedly. Once I have discovered that higher principle in me, then what happens? Tat prasadat. We discover what a blessing it is to know my true self. Prapsasi sthanam. Yat gatva na nivartante tad dhamma paramam mama. We attain to that peace, that joy from which there is no coming back once we realize our true nature. Next verse is by Sharmila. Sharmila, please.
Thank you, sir. Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Krishna has elaborately taught the Gita from chapter 2, verse 11 till the previous verse. He is now ready to conclude the teachings. In verse 18.63, the Lord is trying to make Arjuna realize the value of Atma Jnanam and to utilize it to make his decision. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyad guhyataram maya vimrasai itadasayeshena yati ichchasi tata kuru. Thus, this knowledge, which is a greater secret than any other knowledge or secret, has been imparted to you by me. Having analyzed this completely, do as you like. So the word meanings go like this. Iti, thus, jnanam, this knowledge, guhyataram, greater secret, akyatam guhyat, every other secret, akyatam has been imparted, te maya, to you by me, vimarsyat itat, having analyzed this, ashesena, completely, kuru, do, tata yata ichasi, as you like. Next slide, sir. So what is a secret? A secret is a knowledge which is not accessible to a majority of people. So why is the Atma Jnanam a secret of secrets? Next slide, sir. Spiritual knowledge is profound and not perceptible by direct perception. Swami Chinmayananda says that all our senses go outward, eyes, ears, nose, etc. The Atman is inside and does not get detected. Hence, it is a great secret. Next slide, sir. Yeah. Swami Paramatmananda says, Atma Jnanam is accessible only to a privileged few. To get Atma Jnanam, one needs a guru and the scriptures. To get a guru, one needs the grace of the Lord. And one needs to have Jnana Yogyata to learn the scriptures. So by the grace of the Lord and one's own effort, Atma Jnanam can be obtained. As very few people have the access to this knowledge, it is called the secret of secrets. Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that the Gita is the essence of the Vedas. It is the rarest and greatest secret. So do not take it for granted as you have got it so easily from me. The Lord tells Arjuna that his aim was to impart the teachings. But when it comes to the decision, Arjuna has to decide on his own whether to fight or not. He has to assess his spiritual level and accordingly decrease or increase his sadhanas, whether it be karma yoga or jnana yoga. So why does Sri Krishna not make the decision for Arjuna? All human beings are blessed with buddhi or intellect. The Lord wants Arjuna to use his intellect. Humans also have a free will which has to be exercised by the individual. If Sri Krishna decides everything, then what is the point of having the intellect and the free will? So healthy teaching is to make the student independent of the teacher. Next slide, sir. Sri Krishna feels that if he decides for Arjuna, then he will become dependent on him. The Lord wants him to analyze the teachings, make the decision, and also face the consequences of the decision, good or bad. If someone else makes the decision, he or she may be blamed. To quote the self-help guru, Robin Sharma, when we make our own decision, a terrible thing happens. We have no one to blame. So concluding, Sri Krishna has imparted the whole Gita teaching to Arjuna. He requests Arjuna to ponder deeply on these teachings and make his own decision whether to fight the war or not. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sharmila, for a very nice explanation. And if I will transfer the same thing, Sri Krishna has transferred the entire secret teaching to us. Now it is up to us to see how we can live our lives according to this teaching. Te, unto you, iti, thus, jnanam akyatam. This wisdom, this knowledge has been told to you, maya, by me. This spiritual wisdom is guhyataram, is the greatest of all secrets. So what we are supposed to do, vimrishyaya, consider, ponder over it. On this, how? Completely, asheshena. And then do what you think is best. I'm not going to take decisions for you. Yata ichasi tataku. So this is also an instruction for us. Now don't make decisions for others in your life, however important they may be for you. All we can do is to guide them, empower them. And you will see in the next few verses how Sri Krishna is guiding somebody to take a decision, somebody whom he loves very dearly. And you will see it in this verse once again. Padma, please.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Verse 64. Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha shunu me paramam vachaha ishtosi me drudamiti tato vakshami te hitam. In this verse, Lord Krishna says, again listen to my supreme word, the most secret of all. Since you're very dear to me, I shall tell what is good for you. To dispel Arjuna's profound moral dilemma, the war within himself, which has been the key theme of Lord Krishna's Upadesha, he has been profoundly advising him to follow the path of Dharma, giving him jnanam in the paths of yoga, especially the two main sadhanas, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. He is worried Arjuna may take the wrong course. Swami Paramarthanandaji says, here with respect to Arjuna, Lord Krishna is three personalities rolled into one. Number one, Krishna is Lord, a Vishnu avatar. Two, he is Guru, Karma Vidya Guru. Three, he is his Bandhu. Both are related. And also Arjuna is his friend, constant companion, and a devout disciple. And now, like us, Krishna is facing the biggest challenge of samsara, the problem of detachment. Swamiji gives an example. When we love and care for someone like our children, most often we do not give them the freedom, because any wrong decision of theirs will not only affect them, but us too. He wants Arjuna to make his own decision, choosing the right course of action. In the previous verse, Lord Krishna gave him freedom to make his own decisions. Now the Lord does not want. Now the Lord wants him to use his free will, Ichcha Shakti. The Lord doesn't interfere with our free will. That is the reason he did not stop the Mahabharata war. In this verse, Bhagwan says, Sattva gruhyatamam bhuyaha shunume paramam vachaha. Shuno, listen, bhuyaha. Once again, I shall summarize the Gita. So listen to my paramam vachaha, my supreme words. Here, paramam vachaha is in par with the Mahavakyas in the Upanishad. He says, Ishtosi me drudamiti tato vakshami tehitam iti asi. Since you are drudam ishtaha, you are my very dear, you are very dear to me. Vakshami tehitam, I shall tell you for your own good. And what does he want to tell? Sarva gruhyatamam, the most sacred secret of all, sarva, the essence of Gita, which is the essence of the meaning of all the scriptures, the knowledge of ultimate truth, which he continues in the next few verses. Thank you. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Padma, for giving us a nice explanation of this verse. We are waiting for the verdict, what Arjuna is going to do after listening to this wisdom. And so Sri Krishna gives one last effort. Now, in this verse, he says, once again, O Arjuna, Arjuna means all of us, please listen to this ultimate teaching. Because this is a great secret, and I told you why this is considered a secret, a sacred, and so on. I'm telling you this why? Because you are very dear to me. I'm speaking to someone whose decisions affect me also, because I care for you and I love you. And therefore, whatever I'm going to say is going to be beneficial for you. In the next two verses, verses 65 and 66, Sri Krishna gives the ultimate summary of the two important sadhanas, that is the Karma Yoga sadhana and the Jnana Yoga sadhana. First, we will listen to the Karma Yoga sadhana summary by Dr. Komal Prasad. Dr. Komal, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verse 65. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. again here, Sri Krishna gives an entire summary of Bhagavad Gita in 2 verses, 65 and 66. So 18th chapter itself is a summary of the entire Gita. And again, in this initial 64 verses, he gives a description of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga again and again to give the distilled knowledge and to make Arjuna to take his decision on what to do next. And now, in the last 2 verses, last two verses of the teaching, that is 65 and 66, he again points to the same 2 sadhanas, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Verse 65 is about Karma Yoga, verse 66 is about Jnana Yoga sadhana. Fix the mind on me, be my devotee, be my worshipper, surrender to me, you shall reach me alone. You shall reach me alone. Truly do I promise to you, you are dear to me. So this is the literal meaning. This is exactly the same. The first half is exactly the same as the last verse of 9th chapter, which Sir introduced to us in the introduction. That's the Rajavidya, the 9th chapter, where Sir again and again pointed out about the Guhyatamam Shastra. Because this is the greatest secret. That secret is again put in a nutshell and given in these 2 verses. In the next slide, we see what is that secret. What is the summary of Karma Yoga? What is Karma Yoga? To brush our knowledge again, to again refresh our knowledge, Karma Yoga, Swamiji says, is nothing but a religious way of life. It's a transformation in our perspective of life and its goal. Okay. In our life, what happens in our petty little life, what will people do? We concentrate on materialistic pleasures, materialistic accumulations, wealth, power, control, building something, company. So these are the materialistic pleasures which can be summed up as, in Purusharthas, we call them Artha and Kama. So at a certain stage, when somebody is looking for a direction in life, in this chaotic day-to-day life, then we realize, and what the next step to take towards our ultimate goal is to take God as a companion. An unknown thing which is beyond our control, which is controlling everything, which is part of me, call it God and make it companion. Start a startup, start a company, and with God as your exclusive partner. That's the first step towards having a direction in life. Then that's the start of your religious life. It's not a forbidden word. This is one way in which you will have a religion in your life. It gives a direction to your life, where to go. Otherwise, you will be thinking like, where is the other end of our life? So when you have God as your primary companion, you become a religious person. And what is the actionable steps to be a religious person? Swamiji gives 2 tips. One is to have a prayer, to allot a daily exclusive time for prayer to start with. Then over time, the worship becomes a part of your routine, like part of your whole day. Once you get into Nididhyasanam, the whole day will be a sort of Nididhyasana. You will be in that worship, in that meditation all the while. But initially, to start with, you allot a daily exclusive time for prayer. Swamiji prefers, he says, early morning when the day is fresh, allot exclusive time. It can be whatever time you can allot, 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes for prayer. And the second actionable step to start your religious life is study of scriptures, Vedantic scriptures. And the condensed Vedantic scriptures we see, the Moksha Shastra is in Gita. That's what we are doing. Learn the actual meaning of Gita. Devote certain time every day to study of Gita. That's what we are doing at present. So prayer and study of scriptures, study of Gita. These are the 2 steps to start with the religious life. So what does that mean if God is the primary companion? Whatever you do, he is there with you. An unknown force which is controlling you and which is a part of you is always with you. That's the start of Karma Yoga. Then the next step, what happens here, one curious thing we have to note here is in our Vedanta, in our scriptures, whatever you want in life with your free will is allowed. There is nothing forbidden here. Any pursuit is allowed. And it's called in Purusharthas, Artha, Kama, Dharma. So this is allowed as long as you keep God as your companion, as long as you have that right attitude. Then what happens? Once you reach a certain stage, you will realize God is just not your companion, but that itself is a goal, to know that unknown, to know that force behind. It becomes one of your goals. What is it? God becomes one item in the list of your long list of your materialistic goals. And once God enters the list of your goals, then it's called moksha sadhana. Okay, so God, that is called, the goal you're looking at is moksha. Then you graduate to become what is called spiritually religious. You'll become a mumukshu. You want to know. There's an intense desire to know. Then you have entered the next stage where God is one of the goals, but it's still you have a lot of materialistic goals. That's why the first step is called manda mumukshu, the early stage. Over time, you will again get to the next step where God becomes your topmost goal. There are multiple other goals. You have to build your house, you have to see your son's education, you have to get that bigger car, you have to have a farmhouse, you have to have some weddings in the family, you have to build a temple, you have to build a company. Many things, you have to do some social service. But over and all this, you have this moksha purushartha as your topmost goal, number one goal of your maybe thousands of goals. Then you come to madhyama mumukshu level, when God becomes the topmost goal. After certain time, and over all this period, you have to keep in mind that these two steps of prayer and study of scriptures is there as a tampuri shruti in the background. Always it has to be there. And once you get matured enough, you get into that stage of uttama mumukshu, where moksha is the only goal. Everything else looks like toys, like how we see those ducks there. How, when you remember in your childhood, how precious were those toys. And over time, how we have come out of that frame of mind. And when you get into that stage, everything looks like petty little things which you can just dispose of. And the moksha will become the only goal. Then uttama moksha. That is when once somebody reaches that stage, he's called uttama moksha. Sadhana chatushchaya sampanna adhikari. Then what next one? That is the only goal. It's like a pole vault. You are seeing how it happens. Like you are holding on to God, holding on as a companion, as one of the goals, as the topmost goal. Till where? Till you reach, till you know, till you understand. That is the jnana, which is the next step. So once you go to the other stage, what happens? You will have to even live among the purusharthas or purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. There will be a time when you'll have to leave everything, when you have to merge with one, Advaita. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Once you reach the top, you will get dissolved into the sky. There is no stick, there's no pole, there's no barrier, there is no sky, there is no you. That stage of Advaita is moksha. That's where we are going to go, living initially these three initial purusharthas, artha, kama, dharma, moksha. Then what's that stage? What is there beyond? That oneness, that Advaita. Gita Moksha Shastra is taking us there. And this is in a nutshell what Gita is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Komal. So you will see the importance of this verse because Sri Krishna now reaching the climax of his teaching. Man mana bhava mad bhakta. keep me in your mind all the time. And you will see the first line and the first word of the next line is identical to the 34th verse in the 9th chapter. Man, mana, bhava, mad bhaktha bhava. Be devoted to me. Mad yaji bhava. Whatever you do, do it as a worship to me. Mam namaskuru. Surrender to me. And then he makes a promise. Look at this, Shri Krishna making a promise. He says, this is true and this is my promise to you. And I will promise you what? I want you to know how dear you are to me. And the promise is, you will reach me. What beautiful words. Now that is why Bhagavad Gita is such a profound teaching. That the Lord is giving us a promise. Be my devotee and I will take care of you. We will listen to the chanting of these verses by Dr. Anupama. Dr. Anupama, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshirjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya tam eva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishyetad asheshena yathechasi tatha kuru sarvaguhyatamam bhuyah shrunu me paramam vachah ishtosi me dridham iti tato vakshyami te hitam manmana bhavamad bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Harihi Om.
Thank you, Anupama Madam, for a flawless, wonderful, divine chanting. Thank you all speakers for a wonderful class. Thank you friends for your active participation. On Monday, 17th April 2023, let's log in for a session 55 of Disha for the discovery of inner strength and happiness at 6:45 p.m. In this episode of Disha, our study of chapter 12 will continue along with the topic of Upasana Yoga as explained in Tattva Bodha. With this, let us conclude today's session with our usual Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.